So in this video I'm going to be talking about the name Sugarbox Studios and why I'm called Sugarbox Studios. So I was having to think about what kind of video to make next, and one of the questions that I sometimes get asked is the name Sugarbox Studios. Why Sugarbox Studios? Why am I called Sugarbox Studios? My name is Raheem Mustafa. So why not just call myself something like Raheem Mustafa Photography or Raheem Photography? Why Sugarbox Studios? Well, the story's a bit of a funny one, I suppose. When I first started doing photography, it wasn't actually a plan of mine to become a photographer. My day job is actually, I'm a video editor. I'm a professional freelance video editor. And my father-in-law had this is a bit weird how this works out. My father-in-law had a coffee shop in a town a few miles away. And this particular coffee shop had a soft play area for all the mums and the kids, and they used to be there all the time. And he basically said, he was keen to get more people into the coffee shop, and he had a space upstairs. And he said, "Why don't I offer to take children's portraits? The mums and the parents and what have you. They would love all that sort of stuff." And I said I was a video editor. I basically had a DSLR for video purposes. I used to shoot some videos with that, wedding videos and corporate things and what have you. I never used a DSLR for photography, really. So he was saying, how about starting doing these kids pictures and things. And I thought, well, I'll give it some thought. I'll design some flyers or whatever. But before I knew it, he actually ended up taking appointments for me. He was taking bookings 2 weeks ahead from when he first asked me if I was happy to do it. And I was like, "What are you doing?" I'm not a photographer. I can't say that I'm a photographer. I don't know anything really about photography. I mean, I know how to take some pictures and what have you. And I have a background in filming. I know how to compose a frame, a shot and so on. But I'm no means a photographer, especially a studio portrait photographer. I didn't know anything about light, flash photography and things, and I'm still learning to this day. But it was too late. He said, "Oh, don't worry, you'll be fine. You're professional. You'll be okay." And that was it. I thought, "Oh no, I've got 2 weeks now. 2 weeks to learn photography. What am I supposed to do?" And do you know what? I turned to YouTube. YouTube is amazing for any budding photographer. Even if you're a professional, I think YouTube is brilliant because there's always stuff that you need to learn, skills you want to brush up on, inspiration you might need, and so you can basically search any topic of any type of photography, and you'll get a video, a tutorial on it and things. So I just typed in how to pose people, how to pose kids, how to work with children, how to pose babies and things, and then also how to do studio lighting and multi-light setups and all this sort of stuff. And then I went on eBay and I bought a bunch of studio equipment as cheap as I could, or as much as I could afford for the money. I was lucky actually. A friend of mine was selling some really good studio lights, and he was selling them really cheap, so I bought those and things. But then back to the name, I just thought my name's a bit of a tricky one for people to remember, perhaps. I also personally didn't want to use my name. So I thought Sugarbox Studios, I actually saw it online somewhere, on a magazine, I can't really remember. The name Sugarbox was used, I think, to do with actual boxes that stored sugar. But I thought, it had a kid-friendly name to it. It sounded quite family-friendly and what have you. And so I thought, well, tag studios on the end. And there you have it, Sugarbox Studios. And that was it. I didn't give it that much thought, really. So I just started advertising it as Sugarbox Studios, and I started doing these kids' portraits and things. And I did them really cheap because I thought, if I'm going to screw up the pictures, people aren't going to complain about the price. So that was it. I was thrown in the deep end. Didn't really know what I was doing. I really struggled with white balance and all the lights and different things like that. But I just plowed through it, and it was great. I didn't do it for that long, really. Did a few shoots in a day. I just, had one client after the other kind of stuff come in. And that was it. Sugarbox Studios was born. But now I'm a sport portrait photographer, and I take shots of big muscly bodybuilders, and I do shoots with personal trainers and fitness models, and I'm still called Sugarbox Studios. And you might think, Sugarbox? Sugar? Fitness? We hate sugar, why are you called Sugarbox Studios? But personally, I could rebrand. I know other photographers have done that, but you know what? I think my name's out there. People know of my work. Sugarbox Studios as well, or at least Sugarbox, is quite memorable. People seem to remember it, and it flows off the tongue quite easily. So I've decided to stick with it, and I just think the rebranding thing may never happen. It may one day, but it's not really a plan of mine. I'm just going to stick with it for now because, it's just too much hassle, I think, right now to change Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, magazines, blah, blah, blah. I'm just sticking with Sugarbox Studios. So that's it, basically. I started off as a child photographer. Loosely speaking, I was a photographer. And so now Sugarbox Studios, the name has stuck, and I think it's staying for now, forever. So there we go. That's it. That's the story behind Sugarbox Studios. So now, there's no point asking now, is it? Well, I'll just send you the link to this video.